Hi, I'm Tim Altman, naturopath and nutritionist, respiratory therapist or breathing coach and mental therapist, and I'm excited to be joining the team at 13th Beach Health Services. I thought I'd take this moment to introduce myself a little. Some may know me because I've been a naturopath in Torquay for many years, and I've done talks through Surf Coast Whole Foods and have run breathing courses out of the RACV and Torquay Swim Centre. I've also coached paddlers on the coast, either the Surf Coast or the Bellarine Peninsula or in Geelong for many, many years as well, so some may know me from the paddling community. My introduction into natural medicine came from a fairly young age. I developed chronic fatigue syndrome back in the late 80s. I was studying full-time, I got into honours in psychology, and I was studying full-time. At the same time, I was training full-time as a paddler in surf lifesaving and kayaks with an aim to making Olympic team. I started to get very, very sick, and it took many years to figure out. At the time, not much was known about chronic fatigue syndrome in those days, or what is now known as chronic fatigue syndrome. And it took many, many years, and I was tested by doctors at the Victorian Institute of Sport, Australian Institute of Sport, and no one could figure out what was going on, and via blood tests and what have you. And people who have suffered from chronic illnesses like chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia or irritable bowel or things like that will understand the difficulty in terms of diagnosis. Really, it's a diagnosis by exclusion, meaning they try and figure out everything else, and when they can't, they have to give it a name. So that's where they're at. And so it took many years for me to figure out what was going on. And eventually I found a doctor who spent time to do a case history and understood what was going on. Not long after that, I was very, very fortunate to stumble into a doctor, a Russian biochemist, research biochemist and doctor of medicine who practiced natural medicine in Australia. And through a fairly lengthy process, an extremely thorough process, I was able to use natural medicine to get better. And what I learned from that process was that the body has a capacity for health and healing that is far beyond what I thought and what most people thought. At the end of the treatment, I felt better than I'd ever felt in my life by a long, long way. And so I then became inspired to learn more about what it was that I'd done and what I was doing, and also to learn how to optimize my health even more. Also, a lot of people had started in the sporting world. People had learned that someone had this illness and beaten it. So I started to get a lot of people calling me, asking me for help and what they should do, and I was referring them to this practitioner. So eventually my fascination grew more, and I then went back to him and said, I want to do what you do. And so that meant I had to go back to uni for another 4 years, and I became a naturopath. And I work with this practitioner in Melbourne still, and I'm learning from this practitioner still. And working down the coast, I use a lot of the techniques I learned then and a lot more that I've picked up along the way. Over that time, I've specialised in chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, anxiety and depression, irritable bowel and chronic illness, but I've also done a lot of work with nutrition, whether it be nutrition to regulate blood sugar levels, to optimise performance, or certainly to lose weight. I've done a lot of work with nutrition. And I've also picked up techniques such as working with breathing as a breath coach, and I found that absolutely fantastic for snoring and sleep apnea or apnea and breathing difficulties. Great for anxiety, fantastic for energy levels, and it's also great for surfers and sports people to optimize performance and learn to hold their breath underwater for longer. So I picked up a lot of modalities on the way, and another one that I use now, which sort of is halfway between natural medicine and psych, is the mycotherapy work, and it's certainly the most potent technique I've ever used for chronic illness. I've seen more recoveries or complete recoveries using that technique than I have with anything. So what I do might sound diverse, but everything spreads, or everything has flowed from the idea that I want to explore optimal health in myself and with colleagues and people close to me who are on the same journey to explore optimal health. And I've also had a desire to help others who had who've dealt with chronic illnesses and haven't known what to do. So that is a short summary of what I do and how that evolved. I live on the coast. I had paddled since I was a kid through lifesaving down on the coast. Surf. I just love coastal lifestyle. I do go to Melbourne a little bit, a couple of days a week, but the coast is home. And I'm really pumped to be a part of the 13th Beach Health Services team. They've got some fantastic practitioners and offer a wide range of treatments.